What is partitioning in Hive? Not only Hive, even we have a partition in HDF in SQL. What is partition? What is partition? What is partitioning? Partitioning is dividing your whole data into small manageable parts by depending on some specific column. Depending on the column. What does that mean? Partitioning is dividing your whole data into small manageable parts based on the specific column. What is the advantage by doing a partitioning? Let's have a simple example, guys. Here let's have a simple example. I have a employee data. I have a employee data. So that employee data has worldwide. That employee data has a worldwide employees. Let's say I have 10,000 employees or 1 million employees worldwide. Okay. Now the employee table, which has my employee table, which has a 1 million employees in it. When I start fetching I want to see only India people. I want to see only India people. What I have to write a query? The query I have to write such a way that select star from EMP where country equal to is a country code or whatever it is. Correct? I have to write like this. When I write like this, what will happen? It will start scanning your whole employee table. Scanning in the sense it will start searching whole your employee table. 1 million records will start searching for India record. Wherever it meets the country equal to India, it will fetch those records. Then it will display it. Correct? Right? So it will take some quite amount of time to fetch all the India records because it has to fetch the whole table, right? So what is a table in Hive? A table in Hive is nothing but a folder in a HDFS. What is a table in Hive? Table in Hive is nothing but a directory in a HDFS. A file, a table in a Hive is nothing but a directory in a HDFS. I hope everyone knows about it, correct? So let's take here, and whatever the data is nothing but a file inside the table, right? So whatever the rows in your Hive table is nothing but a file in your folder, correct? Right? So when you start searching for India country called India records, it will start scan this whole folder and will start try to fetch the records. It will take some amount of time. Instead of that, instead of scanning your whole table, if I have something like small manageable parts, if I have partition my table based on the country, so what will happen? It will create because I have partitioned. Okay, I have partition here based on the country. Each partition is nothing but a small directory. Again, each partition is nothing but a small directory. This here it looks like country equal to in. This is the directory name, guys. Country equal symbol in is the directory name. And the same way I have something called UK directory. I have something called US directory. Why these directories will be created? Because I have partitioned the data based on the specific partition column. Here my partition column is nothing but a country. So when I divided my data into manageable parts, specifying my based on the country, it will create small directories inside the whole directory. Inside the whole directory. Now, as soon as you return the query, such a way that select star from EMP where country equal to, guys, the name should be same, country equal to IN. What will happen? It will go to employee directory. Okay, it will go to employee directory. Inside the employee directory, it will look for this directory, country equal to IN directory. Then it will directly go ahead and fetch the records from here. It will directly go ahead and fetch the records from India. It will directly go ahead and fetch the records from India. Why it will fetch the records from India? Because you have given a where clause saying that where country equal to India. So it is not going to touch other records. It will just fetch the only India records. Because India is a subfolder inside the employee directory, and India in this directory will be having only a file which contains the India records. Who will do that? That will be divided by your Hive engine. Who will divide that? That will be divided by your Hive engine. So how it will divide, we'll see. How it will divide, I'll show you now. How it will divide, I'll show you. So as soon as you did country equal to India, as soon as you partition by based on the country, all India related data will go into India folder. All UK related data will go into UK folder. All US related data will go into US. All Canada related data will go into Canada folder. Right? This is called partitioning. This is called partitioning. How we will create a partitioning? How we are creating a partitioning? It's very simple to create a partition. It's very simple to create a partition in Hive. We will create a partition by using partitioned by. There is something called partitioned by class. Partitioned by class. There is something called partition by class. What we will do by using partition by class? We will create a partition. Sir, can I create a partition on multiple directories? Yes, you can go ahead and create a partition based on the multiple directories. You want the partition based on the country? You do it. And you want the partition based on the state? You do it. What will happen in this case? Guys, we have to specify the data type also here while creating a table. I didn't take the data type. We will see the proper syntax. Okay, so while creating, if you create like this, what it does mean, you will be having a country as a directory. You will be having a country as a directory here. I mean, on top of that, you will be having a very big directory which is table, which is nothing but your employee. Okay, your employee will be there. In that, you will be having one more small directory called state. So what does the partition is doing? The partition is doing, your data will be dividing into small subfolders and subfiles. What it is doing ideally, it is dividing your data into subdirectories. It is dividing your data into subdirectories and keeping the data, only the specific data, into that specific folder. Is this clear, guys? Okay, let's see a simple example how we will do that. I know that we have already discussed it, but I'm repeating because the partition and the dynamic partition and the bucketing is most important topics in a Hive. We should know them. So that's why I'm repeating it. So I hope you guys don't mind to repeat the same topic. Let's see a simple example how we'll create a partition. So before that, let me reconnect to my services, restart my services. I think yes. These days now I started using putty instead of connecting directly into my drive, my Ubuntu machine here. I can do the same thing here directly. I can do the same thing here directly. Instead of that, what I'm doing, I'm trying to use putty. There is no difference at all. Okay, don't get confused. I'm launching Hive here. I'm launching Hive here. And before it is launched, let's prepare your Hive table. Let's prepare your Hive table. Uh, we already started writing all our Hive code in specific position, specific document, right? This is our document. Here we are writing all these things. Which, which parameter needs to be enabled for DML operation in Hive? DML operation we are talking about delete, update things, Debashish. Yes, to enable that we have there are four configurations we have to enable. Okay, the four configurations are: one is a transaction manager you have to enable. There are four properties you have to enable. Those are: one is the manage transaction manager. Let me show you here. We have to enable transaction manager. Look at guys here. I have transaction manager you have to enable, and compactor initiator you have to make it true. And the most important thing is your table has to be clustered by, your table has to be bucketed. I'll tell you that what is a bucketed in next in a few minutes. And your table has to be stored as ORC file format. Then only you can do a DML operations. Then only you can do a DML operations. These DML operations were not supporting before 013. Now they have started supporting. Now they started supporting. If you want to do a DML operations like a row level update, row level delete, you can do row level insertion, no problem at all. You can do row level insertions directly. But to do a row level update, do a row level delete, you have to enable these configurations. And your data should be partitioned, and your data should store as a ORC file format. Then only you can do it. Okay, so let's move to we're talking about the partitioning, right? So let's move to the partitioning thing. Okay. Yeah. So here I have some examples for partitioning, but still let me write, still let me write in the different partition. We already executed these partitions last class. If you remember, if you guys remember, we already did this. So now instead of that, I'm going to show you with a different table. I'm just picking this. I want yesterday. Yesterday, yeah, we were discussing about something called this partitions, bucketing and partitions. Okay, because I'm going to show you the same, so don't worry about it. It's the same only, same managed table and same only, partitioning only, but I'll be showing you the different example. Now what I copied there, because I forgot the location where my data is available, so I'm just taking the same data once again. That's the only difference. Yeah. Yeah, this is employee partition. This is employee partition what we have done sometime before. No, India employee, US employee, UK employee, like that, right? Now I'm going to show you one more partition with the stock data, with the stock data, with the stock data. First try to understand where is the stock, what is the stock data. Let's look at, guys, here. This is my stock data. This is my stock. There is something called ticker. Ticker means a company who is giving the stock, and what day the stock is, the what day the stock is, this information about which date it is, and the open price, high price, low price, close, and volume, right? So I don't have a country here. I didn't append the country here, so forget about this. So I don't have a country because I'm not using the country here as of now. Okay, now, or else you can see the data here as well. I modified the data a little bit. Hadoop. So if you look at this, here I have a stock data. This is also stock data. Okay, this stock data has the ticker, date, and open price, low, high price, no, open price, high price, low price, and close price, and volume. Okay, this is my ticker data. Now what I'm going to do, this data has different dates. This data has different dates. If you guys look at here, this data has different dates. Now I'm going to load this data into different partition table. Okay, I'm going to load this data into partition table. Okay, I'm going to load this data into partition table. Understand what is my requirement here? I have a ticker data. I have a ticker data. The whole ticker data is there in a single file. Now I want to partition this ticker data, a stock data, in the date wise. I want to partition date wise. Tomorrow, if I come and query where country, where date equal to the specific date, if I give, I need to look. I need to see only the specific date information. I don't need to see other information, other date information. Okay, that is my use case. What is my use case? My use case is, let's look at what is my use case. Example one. Example one. Example one. So what is my example? Stock data. I want to see the stock data. What is the stock data? I want to see a stock data with the date wise. Stock data with date wise. With the date wise. Okay. So now we can load the data into partition table, right? So case one. Case one. I can load the data into this partition table, right? So there are two cases. One, we can load the data into a partition table if partition column is part of data. Case one, part of the data. Partition column is already there in the data. What is the partition column here? Date. It's already there. Example date. So then how will I load? And case two. And case two. My partition, if partition column is not part of the data, is not part of the data, how will I load? Is not part of the data, is not part of the data. Now how will I load? Right? There are two use cases, guys. There are two cases, not use case. There are two cases to load the data into partition table. One is the data has a partition column. Partition column is nothing but on what base you want to query. And other one is I don't have a partition column in the data. Then what I will do? So you see the first use case, first case. So where your data has a partition column. If you have a data in the partition column, what you need to do? You need to create temporary table. You need to create a temporary table. You need to create a temporary table and fetch the records and fetch the records from temporary table to partition table. You need to fetch the records from temporary table to partition table. Case 2, the column is not part of the your data. What we will do? We will not create a temporary table. What we will do? We will just use the load command. We'll just use the load command. We will just use the load command. So now what we are going to see here, we are going to see first case, because my data already has a partition column. My data already has a partition column. Let's look at that first. Okay, so first what you need to do, I'm doing a static partition. What is a static partition? I'm going to show you here. So static partition is, I'll show you what is a static partition. Okay, so how to create a table? First you need to create some temporary table. I'm creating table temporary table. You can create a temporary table, right? So you don't want to create a temporary table. Temporary table limitation is what? It will available till session is exist. As soon as you come out from the session, it will go out. So then I can say here session stock underscore temp, because it's my temporary table. So I have a symbol. Symbol is nothing but a stock, and the stock date it is there, and the open price is there, high price is there, low price is there, close price is there, volume is there, and row format delimited by this. So now I'm creating temporary table. So when I create a temporary table, I need to load the data into this, right? I need to load the data in it. Correct, guys? I'm showing you here. I'm showing you here case 1. Case 1. What is the case 1? When the data has partition column as part of the data has partition column. That is the case 1. So in this case, I need to create a temporary table and I need to load the data into temporary table. Then I need to create a partition table. Then I need to create a partition table. So I hope everyone able to click follow here. Stock partition. Okay. Now in this case, so on what base I want to do a partition? Based on the date. So when I'm going to create a partition table, my partition column should not be part of your table definition. So I'm removing this part here. Should not be part of my table definition. Then what I will do? I will add it as part of partition column. I will add it in the part of partitioned column. Partition by. I hope you guys are able to follow. What I'm trying to do here, because my data is already has a date column. So when I'm creating a partition based on the date column, my date column should not be the part of the table definition columns, and it should be part of the partitioned column. Okay, so then what I need to do, I need to write insert query. Insert. Okay, so I'll tell you this. Okay, let me write insert query. Insert will take overwrite. Okay, insert overwrite, because why I'm writing insert overwrite? If it's the same data is available, you just overwrite. Insert overwrite. Okay, so insert overwrite. What is the table? Partition. What is the table name? What is the table name, guys? Your stock partition. Stock partition. And you need to specify. You need to specify partition. Partition in this, because I am using static partition. What is a static partition? Static partition means you have to specify which date data you are fetching, which date or which country data you are fetching. So partition the stock underscore date, stock underscore date equal stock underscore date equal. I need to specify the date. I need to specify the date. Let me take a date from here. Actually, say here the date is in the form of string. Okay, so that's why I'm taking it this. Now from where I need to fetch this? Select, select, select. From where I need to select, guys? From here only, right? Select your symbol. You can specify. So whether you want to select the specific columns or select all the columns. So we have to specify it now. We have to specify it. So whether you want to select all the columns or specific columns, right? So let's do here. Let's select. Let's select. What are the things you need? I need symbol. I need symbol. I need open price. I need open price. I need high price. I need high price. I need low price. I need close price. I need volume. I need volume. From which table? Temporary table, no? Because we have already created temporary table, right? This temp table. Okay, this temp table. Now let's execute this. First create the temp table. This table. First create this table. Oh, so I have created in a default database. So we need to use our database, right? Databases. What is our database? Do you guys remember? Test 530 is our database name. Show tables. We already executed partitions, so that's why there are so many partitions are there. Oh, already have a table name called stock underscore partition. Okay, we already seen this. Okay, now stock underscore temp. I'm creating this. Table is created. Now I have to load the data in it, right? So this is what I have copied. Actually, this is the location I need. So where my data is there, look at here. This my data, NSQ date bucket partition. This data where it is there in a specific location in user local Hive input static partition. In that I have this is the data. Now while loading the data, I need to specify what is the location, correct? So that is what I'm specifying in this document. I mean, while loading the data, load data in this position to whom? The stock temp, stock underscore temp, stock underscore temp. Copy this. You can convert everything into uppercase, guys, by using this. Just convert everything in uppercase. But if you convert everything in uppercase, it will not work. Why? Because it's not able to find the location. Let's see. Maybe it's Linux is case sensitive, right? Let's see. The failed. the invalid path, because it is not able to find the uppercase path, because its Linux is a case sensitive. So let it be the small cases only. The rest of the thing you can make it to, uppercase, except path you can keep everything is uppercase. Except path you can keep everything is uppercase. Okay, you can keep everything uppercase except path, because your Linux is the case sensitive. Linux is the case sensitive. It look for whatever the path it is there, it look for exact path. See, now it's loading the data. Now data loaded. Let's check whether data is there or not. Select star from stock underscore temp limit. Just fetch only 10 records. We don't need much records. We'll just see 10 records. Yes, data is there, right? So data is there now. Now we are going to create this partition table. So we create a temporary table. Now we are going to create partition table. So you can convert this into uppercase, no problem at all. You can convert everything in uppercase. Okay, I'm going to create stock underscore partition is already there, guys. So stock underscore partition is already there. So underscore date I'm specifying here. Underscore date I'm specifying here. Why? Because we're partitioning based on the date. We're partitioning based on the date. Let's take. Let's go here. Create the table. Table is created. Very good. Now we need to fetch the data from the. We need to fetch the data from the. We need to fetch the data from the stock table. We need to fetch the data from the this. If you observe here, it is a static partition. If it is a static partition, you have to hard code the value. Which data I want to fetch from the temporary table, which data I want to fetch from the temporary table. So I want to fetch this data first. Let's look at. It is launching MapReady job to fetch the records. I think I don't have a semicolon here. Let me keep a semicolon here. Yeah. Very good. It is written. Let's look at whether the data is loaded or not. Okay. Select star from, not from the temporary. We have to go with the partition underscore date. Yep, the data is loaded. So okay, Ravi, we are saying very nicely from the Hive. Then what it is, how it is storing in the background, right? Let's go with, so the location user Hive warehouse, and what is our database name? Test 530. Go inside the database and see your stock temp table. You have a stock temp table, you have a data which is this much data. Okay, so go with stock underscore partition underscore date. So the thing is, what you need to understand here, if you look at stock underscore date equal to 2000, I mean the date, the value is created a folder, and this is a file. Guys, try to understand, this is your folder. What is this? This is your folder. When I query data from your front end, it is scanning only this. Now the query should be such a way that where stock underscore date equal 20101105. This is our date, no? So now I'm querying this. So I'm giving 10 only. So because I just want to fetch, because so there are 5000 records are there. So I don't want to fetch all the records. I'm fetching only 2000 records. Now look at here. You got the records or not? You got the partition records or not? Right? For the specific tick, this is your price. This is the price. This is the this is the price. Low open price. This is the high price. Close price. Low price. Close price. Then your volume. Right? Yes or no? Now let's I have loaded for this date. So I need to load for other data also, no? I need to load for other data also, no? I need to load for other data also. I need to load for other data as well. So I need to load for other date. So now I'm loading for 6. Now I'm loading for 7. I need to load for 6 and 7. Let's go ahead and execute these two commands here. Now, if you observe one thing here, yeah, it will get loaded, guys. Don't worry, it will get loaded in background. So we'll just have a little discussion here now. So what is happening? It is started loading. Then what you are doing here, if you look at here, what we are doing every time for every date, we are hard coding the things. We are hard coding the things. Let's say I have 100 dates. I have to write 100 insert statements. If it Now I'm taking the stock date. So if it is a country also, if it is a static partition, if you have 100 countries, you have to write 100 insert statements. 100 insert statements. That is a limitation of your static partition. That is a limitation of the static partition. When we will go with the static partition, you know that only the 3 dates of data is available. There is no automatic data will not come, so only 3 dates data will come. You will go with the, because you know it, you will be going to create only 3 directories. You know that you are going to create only 3 directories. You are going to create only 3 directories. So in that case, what happened here? In that case, we will go with the static partition. If you know how many partitions has to create, if you know that, we will go with the static partition. You know that what is the static, how many directories you have to create. If you don't know that, so how many partitions may create, you don't know that, then we will go with the dynamic partition. So before getting into dynamic partition, we need to see whether the data is loaded or not. This is for 5, so let me fetch for the 5, and this is for 6. I'm going to fetch for 6. Look at the data is came for 6 or not. This is the data for 7, right? It is taking very quick time because I'm fetching the records very fast. Let's do same. Fetch the records. Let's see how much time it will take. Here it is taking 019, but here it's taking 013. But so we cannot see that much high difference here. So if it is a single partition, I mean, we are using the single node, what you call single nodes machine, and we may not. Or let me see that much good performance here if you have, until you have proper setup. Okay, see here, you are able to get the data by using partition. So partition wise, we are able to get the data. So this is a case 1. What I have shown here is the case 1. This is the case 1. In a partition only, the way the data we loaded, the data itself has a partition column. If the data itself is not have a partition column, that's the case 2. The data does not have a partition column, how we will load the data, then we should know what data belong to which date. We should know which data belong to which date. Then we will load manually. How it is? Let's look at, guys, here. So before that, first we have to prepare the data. No, we have to prepare the data, right? I have prepared the data here. Then I need to prepare the data, right? Let's look at these two data. One is US country and UK. One is India and another is US. Okay, here, so I don't have okay, let's take a date only. Don't let's divert from the country. Let's take a date only. So I will do one thing. I will what I'll do, mm, I'll take very small data set. Okay, so this case I'll take very small data set, so I don't want to make you confused. Let me take very small data set, yeah, from here. I hope it's enough. This is the stock data. This is the stock data for this is the stock data for 05. This is stock data for G05, and you can say CVS, CSV, or you can say TXT. It really doesn't matter because I am already giving the delimiter as a comma. Okay, this is the data, the NESCOM data for 2000 this 5. Okay, now let's take for 6. Let's take for 6 because that should not contain the date column here. Okay, we need to remove this here. Now we need to remove this. The date column should not be available here. So that's what our condition is, right? That is what our condition, right? This is what our condition, right? So my data does not have a date column. Partition column is not there in my data. Now I have to, so when you don't have a partition column in your date, a partition column in your data, you have to load manually, correct? So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to do that now. So let's take 2006 for the 6th date. This is my 6th date. This is another data. Here also same. I should not have this. I should not have this. Replace all. Okay. Save this file as 6. Save. And get one more. We'll take 3 columns. 3 is enough, I think, to demonstrate no the other case. We'll take only three different files. Okay, 3 different files. Let's assume that this is my data. So why I have changed the data? Because I need to prepare data, no? So before that, before whatever the experiment we are going to do, we should prepare with the data. So that's why we should prepare with the data. So that's why I prepared the data now. Now I have a data. I have a data, 3 different data. Okay, the data does not have a partition column. What is my partition column? My partition column is a date, but my data does not have the partition column. So what I need to do in this case? What I need to do in this case? What I need to do in this case? So in this case, what you need to do, you need to load the data. You need to load the data. You need to load the data manually. You need to load the data manually. You need to load the data manually. This is my 5th data, right? So let's go ahead and look at one more time for clarification. So NASDAQ underscore 2016 1205, 2016 1206, 2016 1207. That's my data, correct? Let's go here. Okay, it's 2012. It is not 11. It's 12. So 05, 05, right? So now you need to specify here. You need to specify here partition. Partition. You need to specify here partition. What is the partition column? This. You need to specify here The date is this. Whatever the date you are going to put, that date you need to put it here. Don't get confused, guys. It's a very simple one. It's very simple. So what I'm trying to explain here is, you have a partition table, you have a partition table, but you have a data, but you do not have, you have a data, but you do not have, but you do not have, you do not have partition column in that data. So in this case, what I need to do? So we will load the data by specifying the hard coded, by hard coding, because I know it, because I know it. This data is belong to, I know it. This data is belong to, this data is belong to 2016 2000, this date. This data is belong to this date. This data is belong to this date. That I know. I know manually, right? Because but data does not have the partition column, so I have to do it myself, because I don't know the date as a part of I don't have the partition column as part of the date, so I have to do it manually. So that's why what I'm doing here, I created a partition table. You can create another partition table, or you can use the same partition table. So I'm going to use another partition table here. Either you can use the same partition table, or you can use a different partition table. I'm using the different partition table, but my partition column is same, stock date only. My partition date, my partition column is same, partition name. So here I say stock underscore date underscore partition date, load, I'll say underscore load. Okay, so this is my table name. So my table name should be this. My table name should be this. Okay, so let's create table now. Let's create table now. Table is get created. Let's load the data now. Let's load the data now. Some semantic error, no file matching with okay, yeah, it's a 2010 it is showing, but the path is 2016. If you remember, path is 2016. Look at here, look at guys here, the path is 2016 1205, 2016 1205. So that is the file name. So the file name is, the file name is, but file name is 2016 1205. And also I'll also load the data in the same manner. 2016 only I'll take, 2016 1205. The data is loaded quickly, the data is loaded quickly. So let me change here as well, because otherwise I'll not get confused in the next class. 6 here, yeah, here is 6, here also 6, 2006. Okay, save it. Now let's go ahead and look at in the your data, your HDFS. I have something called stock underscore partition underscore date underscore load. The table is created. Table is nothing but a directory in HDFS, and other directory is created. Look at guys here, 2016 1205, because I have loaded manually. I have loaded manually here, right? If you go and look at here, you'll see the data. This is because I'm accessing a Linux machine and Windows, right? So that's why on 92.168.56.101. Now we'll see. See here, the data is there. So now this data does not have the partition column, but you know it. This is belong to 2016 1205, right? So let me load another data as well. Let me load another data as well. If I load like that, it will make you easy to understand. For 6, and here also it should be 6. And let me load one more for 7. This is for 7, and this is for 7. So let me load these two partitions again. If you observe here in the static partition, I have to write multiple queries. I have to write multiple queries for multiple partitions. Okay, now just query, select star from, what is the table name? It's not under partition underscore date underscore load. This is my table name. See, all the data has fetched. All the data has been fetched. So let's look at for 6. Yes, all data has been fetched. For 7, all data has been fetched. This is the only data is there in our other tables, right? Other your files, right? Look at here. Same data. Your 2005, I mean date 5 has a more data. That's we know it. So it start from the C. You can also look at here. It started with C. Okay. And other data 6th started with A. Okay. You can look at here. A 6 data started with A. Okay, and C was 7 also started with the AD. You can look at here, it started 7th data started with the AD. So there are, in the static only, there are two ways to load the data. One is the data itself has a partition column. You can easily load it into temporary table, then you fetch it. If you don't, your data does not have the partition column, what you need to do, you have to load it manually into the partition column. The disadvantage, that's not disadvantage, the limitation of the static partition is, the disadvantage of static partition is you have to write multiple statements. Either it is a load statement or insert statement. You have to write multiple statements like this. You have to write multiple statements like this. You have to write multiple statements like this. So when you write multiple statements like this, so if it is 2-3 partitions, well and good. I know it only 2-3 partitions. I'm not going to change anything. Okay. So if it's 2-3 partitions, well and good. So I'm not going to change anything. I can hard code. But if it is not the case, if you have a huge number of partitions, then how will you do? So we will go with the dynamic partition. So the dynamic partition part we will look into tomorrow. So let me show you one more time. So what has happened actually in the background in the HDFS in the load data, because I have loaded 3 partitions. Let's look at the 3 partitions. You can see the data here. You can see the data here. Sir, here it is showing the file names, but in the before example, here it is shown the 000. What is this? Because in the before example we have fetched the data from other table. That's why the MapReduce is launched. When the MapReduce is launched, it is started creating your part files. It is selected the data from other place and putting into this table. So that's why it is. I hope everyone is clear about this. So we will discuss the rest of the thing in the next class. If you guys have any doubt, please message me. Anyway, this video, the document, I mean, whatever we are discussing, so I plan to upload into my YouTube channel. Everyone knows it. I have YouTube channel here. So I started uploading into our YouTube channel. So because I'm loading into Drive and people are getting confused, they will have access or not. So to avoid that, all these things, I'm uploading into this Hive. So here you can see all your thing. So you can go with your numbers. 6, 7, 8, 9, the numbers makes you easy to follow the playlist. Okay, so you can look at in this drive. Okay, yeah, thank you guys, thanks for your time, have a great day.